they're more often than not considered a safe bet or a good investment. Now, those of you who may notice the lighting or anything like that were different. I had gotten interrupted and restarted this cast, but essentially the idea is that what we're looking into is, what do you do with your money on differing scales? So part of that depends on what's going on in your life. Now, if you have debt, if you have bills coming up or certifications, things like that, that require a certain amount of money, I do not suggest that you take the money that would normally go into those things and set them aside and put it into day trading stocks or crypto or anything like that. If you are already in an industry or a field where you make money and there is an opportunity for you to take some of that money that you make from your job or whatever and get debt free or as close to debt free as possible, and then use some of that money to get certified and move up within your job or your career, and that's a sure thing for you, or has a high probability of working out for you, I would suggest doing that, right? And then once you have gotten to a point where you have achieved a level of near debt freeness, you would then move on to investing. And for everyone that looks different, right? And you need to educate yourself on what are typically the largest pathways to wealth. Typically real estate, the stock market, and then you have now cryptocurrency. All of these do have a downside, and you have the possibility of losing money just as much as you have the possibility of making money, depending on the market, when you get into it, at what price, and not doing your own due diligence from who you're buying from, what you're buying or selling, who you're selling to. So there's a lot of things to consider. And these are all generalities, right? Because every person's risk tolerance is going to be different. You have to know what you're comfortable doing, right? Are you comfortable taking $1,000 and putting it into the crypto market? And it might go 100x, right? But it might also lose 90% of its value for the next 5 years. And you have to be prepared for the worst case scenario and best case scenario in any investment that you were to enter into or are to enter into. And for every person, that's different. And that's what everyone has to figure out. Now, that doesn't mean that you are going to do particularly well or bad in any endeavor that you go into. But what I personally think, and what I think is a recipe for being moderately successful in today's day and age for the younger generations, I believe that we have to diversify. Now, for those of you who don't know or don't understand this idea, this term, diversification is essentially just not putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, I think that means that you should, if you can get an education, try and do it as cheaply as possible. Have a job, save as much money as you can, and live as frugally as you can. Save your money for the things that you'll actually need, because you never know when you're going to need it. Now, does that mean that you don't splurge and you don't experience life? No, because I don't think that we're put on this planet just to work and make money. But I do believe that if you have a goal and you're working towards something, that it's going to take a little bit of discipline, and it may require you to forego some of the pleasures in life at certain points in time to get where you want to be. So, and that's, each person's individual journey. I can't decide what that choice or when that is for you or when that should be for you, but that's something that you have to gauge and match up against. What are your goals and what's the vehicle that you're using to get there? Some of you living frugally and toning down your lifestyle might actually go against your business model. It might be something that, if you are someone like an influencer or someone who travels or whatever, and you put this on social media and this is something that you are trying to push to people, it might not be in your best interest necessarily to stop doing that, right? But it might be something that you might figure out better ways to achieve that, or make sure that whatever marketing dollars if this is a business for you, if you're a business owner, that you're doing it so that it actually is maximizing the amount of money that you're putting into it in your investment. And I don't have a course to sell anyone or anything like that. These are basic business principles that you must apply to your own life if you want to achieve massive success like you would in business. So one of those things, then you would look for these same principles and these same tenets within a company. Is the company typically debt free, or is it cash flowing, or all debt free, cash flowing, or is it debt free, cash flowing, and also the debt that it has or the debt that it's acquired or will acquire is going to eventually be sold or used in a way to make a massive amount of profit, more so than what the debt is. If not, then you may have to reevaluate that investment and understand that the debt that you have is something that you can't afford. But personally, I think number one, all millennials should work or do something, work for you, even if that's working for yourself, putting out content, whatever. You should be doing something daily. That's number one. And you should try and make money daily. That's number two. So work. Number three, save. Number four, don't chase a lifestyle. You need to chase the things that make you happy, and you need to be smart and disciplined and frugal with your money and put it away because you might need it. And at some point you're going to need it if you want to make certain purchases. And then, so it'd probably be number five. And then number six, what I think is more important than anything, especially to Americans and young Americans, what I think a lot of them don't understand or forget is this is a capitalist society in the United States. You guys, for most of your lives, have been consumers, and you can change that, and you can become producers. And I don't mean just at a job. You can start a business, and yes, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's harder for some than others, but even the most successful business owners experience a lot of hardship. Most people, there's no camera. They don't have a podcast or anything that they can get in front of and really talk about some of the things they've been through as a business owner. That's part of the focus of this podcast, is doing that so that you guys can get a glimpse of that and the reality of what it takes to be a business owner. But there are parts of this journey that are very unglorious, and it's just a daily grind and a daily hustle, going to work, saving your money, all these things, even being a business owner. But I would suggest to you guys to become one. And for those of you who don't know how to do that, in today's episode, we're going to go over that really quickly. And we're going to make it brief and short, and hopefully this will bring you guys some value and you guys can do something with it. So if you are looking to start a business, any business in any state in the United States, what you do, and you can do this online as well, you take about $110 and you go down to the Secretary of State and you file with them. What you do is you look up a business name, make sure you're not operating as any other person's business. And if you are, you're going to have to come up with a different name or buy the name from them. I would suggest you just come up with a different name. Or you have a business name, and then under that business, you have a DBA, what's known as the doing a business as, and that's what you go by. So if you wanted to be Frank's Hot Dogs or whatever, and there's a Frank's Hot Dogs out the street, and your name's Joe, you would make your company Joe Incorporated, and then you would have your company as Frank's Hot Dogs as the DBA. So that'd be under the business. So get your DBA. You need to figure out what type of tax situation your business is going to have, whether it's going to be an S corporation, a C corporation, a nonprofit, a sole prop, whatever, right? You need to sit down with an accountant and go over that. You need to look into, there's tons of great videos on YouTube, and at some point we may go over that in a series here. And then once you have figured out what tax election the business is going to have, then you go to the Secretary of State, you get the business name registered for $110. You would then take that paperwork that the state gives you. You would go to the IRS and you would file with them, and I believe that's free. And they give you a number called your EIN. And then your EIN, you would then take to a bank or a credit union, and you would open up a business account with them. And then you're free to do business as a business owner, whatever business that may be. Now, some states may require special licensing. There are certain, I don't want to call them trades. There are certain careers and career paths that require special licensing, such as being a doctor or a lawyer, pilot, things of that nature. You can't just go down to the Secretary of State, or especially public accountants as well. Certain things you have to have certification and pass, typically like a state bar or a committee or a board or something that's set up to make sure that you can actually practice what it is, career that you're saying you're getting into. But for 99% of people out there who are just startups, if you're a concrete guy, whatever, yes, you might have, like I said, you guys may have to go get business insurance and these things. You have to look into what specifically the business that you're going into requires for you to operate in and be successful in. But as far as just starting up a business, $100 gets you in the door. $110, usually $120. Secretary of State, register the business name, go to the IRS, get an EIN, go to a bank, credit union, open it up. with your EIN, you get a business bank account, checking, savings, whatever. Make sure you get a proper seller's or buyer's permit from whatever state you live in. You have to figure out if you're going to pay taxes yearly or quarterly on the revenues you generate, and making sure that you're doing that at the proper rate that your state requires, and then also, federally as well. And that's where your tax election comes into play, and where you need to sit down with your accountant and figure that out. But if you are someone that is just working and you're in the United States of America and you have a dream and you want to do something and you're sick of just working for the man and you want to start a business, you can do it for about $100. So that's today's episode. Like I said, save your money, cut down on the lifestyle if you can, pay your bills where you need to, look after yourself, don't start any crazy habits. And if you have any crazy habits, especially spending habits, get rid of them, pay off those debts, and then start a business. You'll thank me as the years go on. So I am your host, Stack Banks. This is the Millionaire Millennial. Hopefully you guys have gotten some value out of this, and we'll touch on other subjects as the year goes on, and hopefully explore more. If you have any questions, please, on YouTube, leave your questions, comments down in the comments below. Instagram, TikTok, whatever you guys want to know, please let me know. Or if you don't like the episode, if there's something you don't agree with, let me know. Or if you want to see someone or have me bring on any CEOs, thought leaders, authors, whatever, other podcast hosts, anyone you guys can think of. We're going to have some pretty interesting guests this year. So, like I said, my name is Stack Banks. This is the Millionaire Millennial. We are signing off.